Queen Vera stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Crystal Dawn. Her purple skin gleamed under the soft lights of the command center. Around her, the crew moved with practiced skill, their 4 arms working the control panels with speed that would amaze most species. But today, something felt different. "My queen," called Navigator Zahn from his station. "We are receiving a strange signal." Vera turned her golden eyes toward him. "What kind of signal?" "It comes from the old sector, near the dead zone." The message repeats the same words over and over. It says, "Help," in the ancient tongue. The dead zone was a place no Zephyrian ship had visited for 200 years. Space there was dark and cold, filled with the wrecks of old battles and forgotten stations. Nothing lived there anymore. "How old is this signal?" Vera asked. Zahn checked his instruments twice before answering. "The signal is very old, my queen. Perhaps 300 years or more. But it is getting stronger as we move closer." Vera felt a chill run through her body. 300 years ago was when the Great War ended. That was when the stories began. Stories of a lost species that could do impossible things. Stories that her grandmother had told her as a child. "Set course for the signal," she commanded. "But keep all weapons ready." The Crystal Dawn changed direction, leading a fleet of 12 ships toward the dead zone. As they traveled, Vera thought about the old stories. Her people spoke in whispers about the humans, a species that had vanished during the Great War. Some said they had died. Others believed they had simply left for places beyond the stars. The stories described beings who could survive in space without suits. They could heal from wounds that would destroy other species. They could solve problems that the best Zephyrian minds could not understand. Most importantly, they never gave up, no matter how hopeless things became. Vera had always thought these were just stories. Now, hearing a signal from that time, she began to wonder. "My queen," called scanner operator Nell. "I am detecting a large structure ahead. It appears to be a space station." On the main screen, a massive shape appeared. The station was old and dark, its metal surface covered with the scars of battle. But it was still intact, floating silently in the void. "Any signs of life?" Vera asked. Nell worked her controls with all 4 hands. "There is something, my queen. One life sign, very weak. It comes from the central section of the station." Vera made her decision quickly. "Prepare a boarding party. I will lead it myself." Her advisors objected. Queens did not board unknown stations. It was too dangerous. But Vera had always been different from other queens. She believed leaders should face danger alongside their people. 20 minutes later, Vera and her best guards moved through the empty halls of the station. Their breathing gear hissed softly in the thin air. Emergency lights flickered, casting strange shadows on the walls. The station had been beautiful once. Vera could see artwork on the walls, though much of it was damaged. The writing was in languages she did not recognize. Some looked like old Zephyrian script, but different somehow. "This way, my queen," said Guard Captain Rex. His scanner pointed toward the center of the station. They found the source of the life sign in a large chamber filled with strange machines. In the center stood a single pod made of clear crystal. Inside the pod was a being unlike anything Vera had ever seen. The creature was tall but not as tall as a Zephyrian. Its skin was pale, almost white. Hair covered its head in a color that seemed to shift between brown and gold. It had only 2 arms and 2 legs, which seemed impossible. How could any species function with so few limbs? But the strangest thing was its face. Even sleeping, it looked peaceful and strong. There was something about it that made Vera feel both calm and excited. "What is it?" whispered Captain Rex. Before Vera could answer, the machine around the pod began to glow. Ancient systems came to life with soft humming sounds. The pod started to open, releasing a cloud of cold mist. The creature's eyes opened. They were blue, a color Vera had only seen in the deep oceans of her homeworld. Those eyes looked directly at her, and she felt something she had never experienced before. It was as if this being could see into her very soul. The creature sat up slowly, as if waking from a long dream. When it spoke, its voice was calm and clear. "Hello," it said in perfect Zephyrian. "I am Sam. You must be Queen Vera." Vera stepped backward in shock. How did this being know her language? How did it know her name? She had told no one outside her fleet about this mission. "How do you know who I am?" she demanded. Sam smiled, and the expression made him look younger somehow. "Your ship broadcasts identification signals. I have been monitoring them since you entered this system. I have also been studying your language patterns." "You have been asleep," Captain Rex said, his hand moving toward his weapon. "My body was asleep," Sam agreed. "But my mind remained active. It is a human ability. We call it hibernation meditation." The word human hit Vera like a physical blow. The myths were real. The legends her grandmother had told were not stories at all. They were history. "You are one of them," she whispered. "You are one of the lost ones." Sam tilted his head to one side, another expression that seemed natural to his species. "We prefer to call ourselves humans. And we were never lost. We simply went to places others could not follow." He stood up from the pod, moving with fluid grace. Vera noticed that despite being much smaller than her guards, Sam showed no fear. He looked around the chamber as if seeing old friends. "This station has been my home for 300 years, he explained. "I was left here to watch and wait." "Wait for what?" Vera asked. "For your people to be ready," Sam said simply. The word sent another chill through Vera. "Ready for what?" Instead of answering, Sam walked to one of the ancient machines. He placed his hand on a control panel that had been dead for centuries. Instantly, the machine came to life. Lights flowed across its surface in patterns that hurt Vera's eyes to follow. "Your technology is impressive," Sam said. "But it is still limited by your understanding of physics. You see the universe in 3 dimensions, with time as a 4th. Humans learn to see much more." The machine projected a hologram into the air. It showed the galaxy, but not as Vera knew it. This galaxy had layers upon layers of reality, dimensions folded into each other like the pages of an infinite book. "This is where my people went," Sam explained. "Not to other planets, but to other layers of existence. We became explorers of infinity itself." Vera stared at the hologram, trying to understand what she was seeing. "Why did you stay behind?" Sam turned off the machine and faced her. "Because someone needed to watch over the younger species. To help them when they were ready to take their next step." "And you think we are ready?" Captain Rex asked. His voice carried doubt and suspicion. Sam studied the captain for a long moment. "That depends on what you choose to do with the knowledge I can share." He walked closer to Vera, and she noticed something strange. The air around him seemed cleaner somehow, as if his presence removed impurities. When he breathed, he showed no discomfort despite the thin atmosphere that required her people to use breathing gear. "Your legends speak of human abilities," Sam said. "Some of those stories are true. We can survive in environments that would destroy other species. We can heal from injuries that would be fatal to others. We can process information and solve problems in ways that seem impossible." "Prove it," Vera said. Sam nodded as if he had expected the challenge. He walked to a section of the wall that had been damaged in some ancient battle. A large piece of metal debris protruded from it at an angle that would require heavy machinery to remove. Sam gripped the metal with his 2 hands. His muscles tensed, and Vera heard the sound of groaning metal. Slowly, incredibly, he pulled the debris free. The piece of metal was easily 3 times his body weight. But that was only the beginning. Sam examined his hands where the sharp metal had cut them. As Vera watched in amazement, the wounds closed themselves. In less than a minute, his skin was perfect again. "How is this possible?" she breathed. "Human bodies are designed for survival," Sam explained. "We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. Our bodies learn to adapt, to heal, to overcome." Captain Rex raised his weapon. "You could be dangerous to our people." Sam looked at the weapon without fear. "I could take that from you before you could fire it," he said calmly. "I could disable your entire guard force without harming any of you. But I will not, because that is not why I am here." "Then why are you here?" Vera asked. Sam's blue eyes met hers again. "To help you become more than you are. To teach you that the universe is far larger and more wonderful than you imagine. To prepare you for what comes next." "And what comes next?" she asked. Sam smiled again. "First, you must prove that your species is worthy of the knowledge. You must show that you can use power responsibly, that you can protect rather than destroy." Vera felt excitement building in her chest. The implications of what Sam was saying were enormous. If humans truly had abilities beyond Zephyrian understanding, if they had knowledge of other dimensions, then everything would change. "How do we prove ourselves worthy?" she asked. Sam gestured toward the station around them. "There is a test. This station sits at the edge of the Crimson Nebula. Beyond that nebula lies a space that no Zephyrian ship has ever crossed. The energy storms there destroy any vessel that tries to pass through." Vera knew the Crimson Nebula well. It was a wall of chaotic energy that had blocked exploration for generations. Ships that entered it were never seen again. "You want us to cross the nebula?" Captain Rex asked. "I want to help you cross it," Sam corrected. "If you succeed, it will prove that your people are ready for the next stage of their development." Vera thought quickly. The nebula had always been impassable. But if Sam truly had the abilities the legends described, if he could guide them through safely, it would open up entire new regions of space for her people. It would also prove that the human myths were real. "Very well," she said. "We will attempt to cross the Crimson Nebula. But you will come with us." Sam nodded. "I was hoping you would say that." As they prepared to leave the station, Vera wondered what she was beginning. She had come looking for salvage and found a legend. She had awakened something that would change her people forever. The question now was whether that change would save them or destroy them. Sam stood on the bridge of the Crystal Dawn, studying the massive wall of red energy that blocked their path. The Crimson Nebula stretched across space like a living thing, its swirling clouds pulsing with dangerous power. For 300 years, no ship had successfully crossed this barrier. Queen Vera watched Sam carefully. Since leaving the ancient station, she had seen him do things that challenged everything she believed about the universe. He could read her ship's computer systems faster than her best technicians. He understood their language better than scholars who had studied it their entire lives. Most disturbing of all, he seemed to know things about her people that no outsider should know. "The nebula is beautiful," Sam said quietly. "Your people see it as a wall, but it is really a doorway." "A doorway to what?" Vera asked. Sam pointed toward the swirling energy. "To places your people have never imagined. Beyond this nebula lies a region of space where the normal laws of physics work differently. Stars burn with cold fire. Planets exist in multiple dimensions at once. It is where my people first learned to see beyond the obvious." Navigator Zahn turned from his station. "My queen, our instruments cannot penetrate the energy fields. We are flying blind if we enter." "Your instruments see only 3 dimensions," Sam explained. He approached the navigation console and studied the displays. "May I?" Zahn looked at Queen Vera, who nodded her approval. Sam placed his hands on the control panel. Immediately, the displays changed. New patterns appeared on the screens, showing layers of information that had been invisible before. What are you doing? Zahn whispered. Teaching your computers to see what humans see, Sam replied. Your sensors detect energy, matter, and time. But they miss the connections between them. The nebula is not chaos. It follows patterns that exist in dimensions your people have not yet discovered. The bridge fell silent as everyone watched the displays. Where before there had been only swirling red confusion, now there were paths. Narrow corridors of relatively stable space wound through the energy storms like roads through a dangerous forest. How is this possible? Vera demanded. Sam straightened up from the console. Human brains process information differently than Zephyrian brains. We see patterns where others see randomness. We find order in chaos. It is why our species survived on a world that tried to destroy us every day. Captain Rex stepped forward. Even if we can see paths through the nebula, what about the energy storms? They will tear our ships apart. Sam nodded toward the main screen. That is true if you try to fight the storms. But what if you work with them instead? He touched another control, and the display showed the energy flows in more detail. Vera could see now that the storms moved in cycles, like ocean waves. There were moments when the energy weakened, creating brief windows of safety. Your ships must move with the rhythm of the nebula, Sam explained. Like dancers following music. When the energy rises, you wait. When it falls, you move quickly to the next safe zone. How do you know the rhythm? Engineer Tam asked from her station. Sam closed his eyes and was silent for several minutes. When he opened them again, his expression had changed. He looked more focused, more aware of everything around him. I can feel it, he said simply. The nebula has a heartbeat. Every human can sense it once they learn to listen. Vera felt excitement and fear fighting in her chest. You want us to trust our fleet to your ability to hear energy patterns? Not just trust, Sam corrected. Learn. I will teach your navigator to feel what I feel. But we must start now. The window of opportunity will not last long. Sam moved to stand beside Navigator Zahn. Close your eyes and clear your mind. Feel the ship around you. Feel how it moves through space. Zahn looked uncertain, but he followed Sam's instructions. I feel nothing different. Look deeper, Sam said. Your people have 4 arms because your ancestors needed to sense their environment from multiple directions at once. That same ability exists in your mind, but you have forgotten how to use it. Slowly, Sam guided Zahn through a process of mental focusing that seemed almost like meditation. Around the bridge, other crew members watched in fascination as their navigator's expression changed from confusion to wonder. I can feel something, Zahn whispered. Like a rhythm in the energy fields. That is the nebula's heartbeat, Sam confirmed. Now, feel for the moment when it will be safest to move forward. Zahn was quiet for almost a minute. Then his eyes opened wide. Now, he said. We need to move now. All ships, follow the Crystal Dawn, Queen Vera commanded into her communication device. Stay close and be ready for sudden course changes. The fleet moved forward into the Crimson Nebula. Immediately, the energy storm surrounded them. Red lightning crackled across their shields. The ships shook as waves of power washed over them. But Sam was ready. Turn 15 degrees to starboard, he told Zahn. The energy is weaker there. Zahn followed the instruction without question. The shaking stopped. Now wait, Sam said. Let the energy build around us. Feel it growing stronger. For 5 long minutes, they sat motionless while the storms raged around them. Vera watched her shield strain against the assault. Several ships in her fleet reported minor damage. Now, Sam said quietly. Straight ahead, maximum speed. The fleet shot forward through a corridor of calm space that had opened like a door. For 30 seconds they raced ahead, then Sam called for another stop. How did you know that path would be clear? Vera asked. Sam smiled. The same way you know when to breathe. It is natural, once you learn to feel it. They continued this pattern for hours. Wait for the energy to build, then race through the calm spaces that appeared. Sam guided them through turns and twists that no computer could have calculated. Slowly, step by step, they moved deeper into the nebula. My queen, scanner operator Nell called out. I am detecting something ahead. Large objects moving through the energy storms. What kind of objects? Vera demanded. Nell worked her controls frantically. Unknown, my queen. They are made of crystalline material, but they are alive. And they are coming toward us. On the main screen, shapes appeared through the red energy. They looked like living gems, each one the size of a small ship. Their crystalline bodies glowed with internal light, and they moved through the energy storms as easily as fish through water. Energy feeders, Sam said, his voice suddenly serious. I was hoping we would not encounter them. Are they dangerous? Captain Rex asked, his hand moving toward the weapon controls. Very dangerous, Sam replied. They feed on the power from ships' engines and shields. A single feeder can drain a vessel completely in minutes. More of the crystalline beings appeared around the fleet. Vera counted at least 20 of them, each one circling her ships like predators studying prey. Why are they not attacking? She asked. Sam studied the creatures carefully. They are intelligent. They are deciding whether we are worth the effort to hunt. Suddenly, one of the feeders broke from the group and rushed toward a ship on the fleet's outer edge. It struck the vessel's shields with incredible force, and immediately the ship's power began to drain away. All ships, return fire, Queen Vera commanded. Energy beams lanced out toward the attacking creature, but they passed through its crystalline body without effect. The feeder continued to drain power from the ship, growing brighter as it fed. Conventional weapons will not work, Sam said quickly. The feeders exist partially in other dimensions. You cannot hurt what you cannot fully touch. Then how do we fight them? Captain Rex demanded. Sam moved to the weapons control station. You do not fight them. You confuse them. He began working the controls with speed that amazed everyone on the bridge. Energy feeders hunt by sensing power patterns. If we can create false patterns, we can make them chase shadows instead of ships. The weapon systems changed their configuration under Sam's guidance. Instead of firing destructive beams, they began projecting what looked like copies of the real ships. Soon, dozens of fake vessels appeared around the fleet, each one glowing with fake energy signatures. The feeders immediately became confused. They broke off their attacks on the real ships and began chasing the false images. But the fake ships moved in patterns no real vessel could follow, leading the feeders away from the fleet. Brilliant, whispered Engineer Tam. You turned our weapons into a magic trick. Human tactical thinking, Sam explained. When you cannot win with force, you win with cleverness. But even as the feeders chased the false targets, more dangers appeared. The energy storms around them were growing stronger. Several ships reported shield failures. The safe paths through the nebula were becoming harder to find. The nebula is fighting back, Navigator Zahn said. It knows we do not belong here. Sam shook his head. The nebula is not fighting us. Something else is. He moved to the scanning station and began studying the energy patterns more closely. There, he said, pointing to a section of the display. Do you see that pattern? It is not natural. Vera looked where he was pointing but saw only swirling energy. I see nothing unusual. Look with your mind, not your eyes, Sam instructed. Feel for something that does not belong. Vera tried to do what Sam suggested. Slowly, she began to sense something wrong with the energy patterns. There was a rhythm that seemed forced, artificial. Something is controlling the storms, she realized. Yes, Sam confirmed. Something that does not want us to reach the other side of the nebula. As if responding to his words, the energy storms suddenly intensified. Lightning struck their shields with renewed fury. The safe paths began to disappear. "My queen," Navigator Zahn called out urgently. "I am losing the rhythm. The patterns are changing too fast." Sam closed his eyes again, concentrating deeply. When he opened them, his expression was determined. "There is only one way forward now," he said. "We must find the source of the interference and stop it." "How do we find something hidden in all this chaos?" Vera asked. Sam moved to the navigation controls. "We follow the source of the artificial patterns. Like following a river to its beginning." Under his guidance, the fleet changed course. They moved deeper into the heart of the nebula, where the energy storms were strongest. The ships shook constantly now, their shields failing one by one. "My queen," Captain Rex said quietly. "Perhaps we should turn back. We are risking the entire fleet." Vera looked at Sam, who was concentrating completely on guiding them through the chaos. She thought about the legends of humans. They never gave up, no matter how hopeless things seemed. "We continue," she decided. "If Sam believes we can succeed, then we will succeed." Ahead of them, through the swirling red energy, a massive shape began to appear. It was a structure of some kind, ancient and powerful, sitting in the heart of the nebula like a spider in its web. "What is that?" Vera whispered. Sam's expression grew grim. "The guardian of the nebula. And it has been waiting for us." The guardian structure emerged from the energy storms like an ancient mountain rising from a Red Sea. It was massive, easily 10 times larger than Queen Vera's flagship. Made of dark metal covered in strange symbols, it pulsed with power that made the nebula's storms look weak in comparison. "What is that thing?" Captain Rex whispered. Sam studied the structure with calm eyes. "A test," he said simply. "Built by my people long ago to determine if a species is ready for the truth about the universe." "Your people built this?" Vera asked, her voice filled with awe and concern. "Not this generation," Sam explained. "My ancestors, before they moved beyond normal space. They knew that younger species would eventually find their way here. This guardian was placed here to judge whether those species deserve to learn what lies beyond." The structure began to move, turning toward their fleet like a giant eye opening. Energy beams shot out from its surface, but they did not attack the ships. Instead, they scanned each vessel carefully, as if reading their intentions. "It is studying us," Navigator Zahn observed. "Yes," Sam confirmed. "Learning about your people. Your technology. Your hearts. The Guardian will decide if the Zephyrian Empire is ready for the knowledge that could change everything." Suddenly, a voice echoed through space, speaking directly into their minds. It was ancient and powerful, carrying the weight of countless years. "I am the Guardian of the Crimson Gate," the voice said. "I have waited 300 years for visitors worthy of the test. State your purpose, children of distant stars." Queen Vera stepped forward, though the Guardian could not see her. "I am Queen Vera of the Zephyrian Empire. We seek passage through the nebula to explore what lies beyond." "Exploration requires wisdom," the Guardian replied. "Wisdom requires understanding of consequences. What will you do with the power you seek?" Vera thought carefully before answering. "We will use it to better the lives of our people and bring peace to our region of space." The Guardian was silent for a long moment. Then energy beams struck several ships in the fleet. But instead of causing damage, the beams seemed to examine the crews themselves, reading their thoughts and motivations. "I detect truth in your words, Queen Vera," the Guardian said. "But truth alone is not enough. You must prove that your species can choose wisdom over power, sacrifice over conquest." "How do we prove this?" Vera asked. The Guardian's structure began to change. Sections opened to reveal a massive chamber filled with swirling energy. One among you must enter the chamber of truth. There, they will face the fundamental choice that defines a species' future. Choose your champion. Vera looked around her bridge. The obvious choice was Captain Rex, her strongest warrior. Or perhaps Engineer Tam, her smartest scientist. But before she could speak, Sam stepped forward. I will go, he said. No, Vera said immediately. You are not one of my people. This test is for us. Sam turned to face her, and his blue eyes held depths of knowledge she was only beginning to understand. The test is not about who enters the chamber. It is about what choice they make inside. And I am the only one here who knows what choice will be offered. The Guardian seemed to approve. The human speaks truth. He may enter, but know this, Queen Vera. Whatever choice he makes will determine the fate of your entire species. Choose wisely who you trust with such responsibility. Vera felt the weight of decision crushing down on her. Sam was still a mystery to her people. She had known him for less than a day. Yet he had already shown abilities beyond her understanding and knowledge that could transform her empire. Why are you willing to do this for us? She asked. Sam smiled, and for a moment he looked very young despite his ancient origins. Because it is what humans do. We help others become more than they thought possible. Your people have potential they do not yet realize. I want to help you discover it. Around the bridge, her officers waited for her decision. Captain Rex looked skeptical. Navigator Zahn seemed hopeful. Engineer Tam appeared fascinated by the technical implications of what they were witnessing. Very well, Vera said finally. Go. But remember that you carry the hopes of billions with you. Sam nodded and walked toward the transport platform. Remember what I taught Navigator Zahn about feeling energy patterns. That ability exists in all your people. Trust it. A beam of light surrounded Sam and lifted him from the ship. Vera watched through the main screen as he was carried toward the Guardian's chamber. The opening closed behind him, leaving the fleet alone in the swirling energy storms. Inside the Chamber of Truth, Sam found himself in a place that existed beyond normal dimensions. The walls showed visions of possible futures, each one branching into countless possibilities. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal holding two objects. The first was a crystalline device that pulsed with incredible power. Sam recognized it as a reality manipulator, capable of reshaping matter and energy according to the user's will. With such a device, the Zephyrian Empire could conquer entire galaxies, bending the universe to their desires. The second object was smaller and simpler. It appeared to be just a seed, glowing with soft inner light. But Sam knew its true nature. It was a growth catalyst, designed to unlock the hidden potential that existed within every Zephyrian mind. The Guardian's voice echoed around him. Choose, human. Give your adopted people the power to rule the universe, or give them the ability to understand it. But know that you can choose only one, and your choice cannot be changed. Sam walked around the pedestal, studying both objects. He had seen this test before, in different forms, with different species. Some chose power and became conquerors who eventually destroyed themselves. Others chose understanding and became explorers who enriched the universe. Why do you make me choose for them? Sam asked. Should they not decide their own fate? They will decide, the Guardian replied. Your choice determines what options they will have. Choose power, and they will become a warrior species. Choose understanding, and they will become a teacher species. But they cannot be both. Sam thought about Queen Vera and her people. He had seen their potential during the journey through the nebula. They were brave but not reckless. Curious but not greedy. They had the capacity for both greatness and wisdom. I choose understanding, he said, reaching for the glowing seed. The moment his fingers touched it, the seed burst into light that filled the entire chamber. Sam felt its energy flow through him and beyond, reaching out toward the Zephyrian fleet outside. On the bridge of the Crystal Dawn, Queen Vera suddenly gasped. She felt something changing inside her mind, like doors opening to rooms she had never known existed. Around her, the other officers were experiencing the same transformation. "My queen," Navigator Zahn called out, his voice filled with wonder. "I can see new dimensions in the energy patterns. The nebula is not just three-dimensional. It exists in layers upon layers of reality." Engineer Tam looked up from her console with amazement. "The equations I have been working on for years suddenly make sense. I can see how to build engines that work with space instead of fighting it." Even Captain Rex seemed different. "I understand now why fighting the energy feeders was wrong. They were not enemies. They were part of the nebula's ecosystem. We could have communicated with them instead of confusing them." Vera felt knowledge flowing into her mind like water into a dry riverbed. She could see the connections between all things, the patterns that linked matter and energy, space and time. It was overwhelming and beautiful at the same time. Sam appeared back on the bridge, but he looked different somehow. Fainter, as if he was beginning to fade away. "What is happening to you?" Vera asked. "The choice is made," Sam replied. "My purpose here is complete. Your people now have the ability to grow beyond their current limitations. But they must choose to use it. Where will you go?" Sam looked toward the stars beyond the nebula. "Back to my people, in the spaces between dimensions. But first, I want to see what your people do with their new abilities." The Guardian structure was changing, opening like a flower. The energy storms that had blocked the nebula began to calm. For the first time in 300 years, the passage was clear. "The way is open," the Guardian's voice announced. "The Zephyrian Empire has proven worthy of passage. But remember, worthiness must be earned again with each generation." Queen Vera felt a responsibility settling on her shoulders. "What lies beyond the nebula?" "Wonders beyond imagination," Sam replied. "Civilizations that have existed for millions of years. Technologies that seem like magic. Knowledge that can transform entire species. But also dangers for those who are not ready." "And you believe we are ready?" Sam nodded. "You chose to trust me with your people's future. That choice showed wisdom. You guided your fleet through impossible challenges without losing hope. That showed determination. Most importantly, you cared more about your people's growth than your own power. That showed the kind of leadership the galaxy needs." The fleet moved forward through the now calm nebula. As they emerged on the other side, they saw a vista of space unlike anything in their home galaxy. Stars burned in colors that had no names. Planets existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Structures the size of solar systems floated in the void, clearly built by intelligence beyond current understanding. "It is beautiful," Vera whispered. "It is your future," Sam replied. "If you choose to embrace it." As they watched, Sam's form became more transparent. "I must go now. My people are calling me home." "Will we see you again?" Vera asked. Sam smiled one last time. "When your people are ready for the next step, someone will be there to guide you. That is the human way. We do not lead from above. We walk beside those who are ready to grow." He faded away like morning mist, leaving behind only the echo of his words and the knowledge he had planted in their minds. Queen Vera stood on her bridge, looking out at a universe that was suddenly larger and more wonderful than she had ever imagined. Her people had been given a gift beyond measure. Not the power to conquer, but the wisdom to understand. "Set course for the nearest inhabited system," she commanded. "It is time for the Zephyrian Empire to become something new." As the Crystal Dawn and her fleet moved toward their destiny, Vera thought about the human who had changed everything. Sam had given them the greatest gift possible, the chance to become more than they were. The legends had been true after all. Humans were mythical beings who helped others reach for the stars. Now it was time for the Zephyrians to create their own legends.